Alabama fills both its coordinator positions, and that's where we start. First, Notre Dame offensive coordinator Tommy Rees was hired to the same position. At just 30 years old, the former Irish quarterback spent 3 seasons as the OC at his alma mater. Now, as for the defensive coordinator opening, well, Nick Saban filled it with a familiar face. Kevin Steele is back coaching the Crimson Tide for the 3rd time. The 39-year coaching veteran was most recently with Miami. So with all of that established, let's welcome in our guest host. He is a college football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champ, former first-round pick out of Notre Dame, and current CBS Sports football analyst, Aaron Taylor. Aaron, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Emily. You didn't mention the fact that I won the spelling bee in 4th grade. A lot of people overlook that, but that's certainly on the top of my trophy case.
Man, I got lots of notes here. There's a lot of things that are on your resume that I didn't mention. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit, but I want to talk first about your ties to Notre Dame, because Tommy Rees leaving his alma mater to go to Tuscaloosa. First off, what do you think of the fit there?
It's going to be interesting. It's certainly a divergence from the sort of offenses that we've seen run at Alabama as of late with the quarterback power that they've had compared to what we've seen out of Notre Dame, which has been pedestrian at best. I've been really impressed with Tommy Rees as a person, as a player. He was one of my favorite guys because of the way he played with a chip on his shoulder. He's a blue-collar guy, but he's earned my respect as a coordinator. The way that he went to bat and came back with Marcus Freeman, the way that he looks out for his players. There was that much covered chewing out of his quarterback's bootay after he had made a bad decision, but that was what was in that player's best interest. So he understands all facets of what it's like to understand what it's like to coach that position. But most importantly, and what I'm most interested in, is what style of offense they're going to run. Tommy Rees, even though he's a quarterback, is wholeheartedly all about that run game. Obviously featuring Michael Mayer, the tight end the last 2 years. He led Notre Dame in receptions. But can Tommy Rees take advantage of all that step up of plus 5-star power that Nick Saban has brought to Tuscaloosa? That's going to be the question on all the Rolling Tide fans' minds. And I'm bullish on him. I think it's going to be an interesting fit, especially with a new coordinator on the defensive side of the ball. But it was a little head scratchy on the outset because it was such a divergence of what we've seen out of those guys in Crimson.
I think that this move for Nick Saban signals a desire to go back to where the run game comes first at the University of Alabama. They've just had a run of a bunch of great quarterbacks, and they'll continue to have excellent quarterback play. But Tommy is a guy who is dedicated to the run. People at Notre Dame were frustrated with him about the offense, but they only had really one viable option on offense this year, and that was the tight end, Michael Mayer. A lot of pedestrian-type guys at some of the other skill positions. They had great run designs with Kyron Williams was there. So what I would say in going to the University of Alabama, he's going to have a plethora of skill talent at his disposal, and he's going to have a strong run game with a big-time offensive line. What's going to also come into play, when you're a coordinator and you go to the University of Alabama, the system is set. The terminology, the culture is just going to be about how he's going to maximize those guys outside in the passing game. It'll be a lot of people involved in terms of play design. He won't be there by himself. Coach Saban is very astute as well on the offensive side, even though he gets a lot of credit for being a defensive genius. I actually think this is a really good fit for Alabama. Tommy Rees also is very well liked and respected on the recruiting trail amongst high school coaches. He has a great reputation, has had a lot of integrity. I think he does well for the University of Alabama. And Coach Saban, of course, vetted this hire, and he doesn't make too many mistakes at those positions.
Yeah, not that Alabama needed the help on the recruiting trail as they just wrapped up the #1 class for the 10th time in the last 13 years. I think we kind of asked ourselves the question is, what would we learn about this offensive coordinator hire in terms of maybe tipping us off to what quarterback will be starting for the Crimson Tide next year and just overall what offense they're going to run. But Aaron, I think you put it perfectly. It's still a little bit of a head scratcher, which, creates that level of excitement, essentially among opponents too, not knowing what Alabama's going to end up doing. On defense, though, we feel pretty solid about the defense that Nick Saban leads. But Carl, going back to the well here with Kevin Steele, I'm curious, what does this hire signal to you?
This signals that Alabama going back to its roots. The last couple of years, Alabama has won a lot of 4-2-5, when in the past they were mainly a three-man front, cover three team, match cover three, which was their big deal the whole time during the beginning of their championship run. I think Kevin Steele brings back the old school Alabama way of starting first and second downs in a heavy three-man front and your match cover three and going 4-2-5 on mostly the passing downs. I think Kevin Steele is a guy who knows exactly the way Coach Saban wants to play defense. It's a guy that he's not going to have to fight to do certain concepts. And after what Alabama has went through with playing the University of Tennessee, coming up at the end where they lose against LSU at the end with some of these spread RPO offenses, I think he knew exactly what he was looking for defensively, and he was looking for a guy who had a similar mentality to him, and he's found his guy in Kevin Steele, a guy he's worked with before.
Aaron, what do you think about this?
Man, it's good to be Kevin Steele. He's the most employable dude in college football, man. He's got 9 lives, all the different places he's been. Third stint with Nick Saban, his second there in Tuscaloosa. So there's familiarity, and that's what this move was about. I agree with you, Carl. I thought that last year defensively, the bread and butter of Alabama, as we've known it for most of the run of this incredible era that we've seen from Nick Saban, has been that defense, but it got torched a couple times this year. So the familiarity that he brings with Kevin Steele coming in means that Nick can let go of some of the things he doesn't need to worry about and can specifically focus on some of the things that he can that does make a difference, because what's going on there in Knoxville seems to be humming, and that's a beast you need to worry about. Ole Miss is a beast that you need to worry about. Georgia has become a beast offensively that you need to worry about. So I think what gets understated or maybe not as appreciated as much as it should be is that Nick Saban is the best college football in the history of this sport, but he's done it with constant turnover. Coach after coach, early departure after early departure, he's been able to weather so many storms. So like Carl was saying, it really does become a plug and play, and that familiarity is going to breed dividends for the rest of the season coming up. It's going to be an interesting facet to watch all this come together, because seemingly this could be the foundation may be shaken a little bit for Nick Saban and Alabama, but we've said that every year. This is the year that the dynasty is going to end, and all they end up doing is being a top 5 team year after year, and my guess is they're going to be the same in 2023.
All right, Aaron, what about your Irish? They now have a void to fill at the offensive coordinator position with a very exciting quarterback in Sam Hartman coming in. Where should they go with this hire?
Man, they could hire me or Carl to call plays with Sam Hartman back there. That dude can spin it, man.
Yeah.
He threw 70-plus touchdowns in these last couple years, and he's just a winner. Coming back from the injury, he's got the respect of the players. He's a hardworking dude. We're all seeing the videos. The words I'm hearing with the text messages I'm getting is that this is a Notre Dame guy. He is about that work. That is going to pay huge dividends for us. We talked about it already with Tommy Rees, and you think about a program like Notre Dame and all the success that we've had recently, despite pedestrian quarterback play. It's going to be somebody that can come in and really start to light things up. Now, Sam Hartman does come in, but that still doesn't answer some of the questions that we have at some of the other skill positions, particularly on the perimeter. Tight end, we're going to be fine. Running game, we're going to be fine. Notre Dame's going to have one of the best offensive line, if not the best offensive line in the college football next year. So whoever it is that comes in, and there's obviously the obvious favorites, I think they're stepping into a really bright situation, and Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame fans are going to feel real good, because I think if we can come in and get that thing humming, step up a little bit on the defensive side of the football, Notre Dame has a shot, albeit an outside one, to make the playoff this upcoming season.
Well, Aaron, I'm going to tell you what, I don't know if they will want me calling plays, because we'd be running the wing T with Sam Hartman if I was calling the offense. I can tell you that. But Sam Hartman gives you an offensive coordinator's dream. You're coming in behind a defensive-minded head coach in Marcus Freeman who can take care of that side of the ball. You get to come in and work with Sam Hartman. That's got to be very attractive to play callers. Even though you're strong at tailback, you're strong at tight end, like you said, Aaron, they have to improve the talent on the perimeter, but they have a strong base from the inside out to be able to go with offensively. And you have a quarterback. And if you have a quarterback at that level, then you have a chance. It's got to be some premier offensive play callers who want that opportunity and want to see if they can take it and run with it.